In 2023, U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy warned that about 1 in 2 adults in America reported loneliness. But you canceled the loud plan, put your phone face down, made coffee for one, and felt your whole body loosen. You did not panic. You did not feel rejected. You did not feel like something was missing. And that is the part people misunderstand. Because most people see someone eating alone, walking alone, thinking alone. They immediately build a sad story around it. They assume you are avoiding life. They assume you are bad with people. They assume you secretly wish someone would rescue you from your own company. But what if that quiet room is not a punishment? What if it is the place where your mind finally comes back online? Over the next 8 minutes, you will understand why some people do their clearest thinking alone. You will understand why they do their deepest emotional processing when nobody is watching, and why they do their most honest self-correction there too. And if this already feels uncomfortably familiar, do the small thing people pretend does not matter. Stay. Not for me. For the part of you that has been tired of explaining why quiet feels safe. Because here is the real question. When did being comfortable alone start looking suspicious to everybody else? You were not always like this. There was a time you were the one who replied fast, showed up early, stayed late, and remembered birthdays. You checked on people, softened rooms, filled awkward silences, and made sure nobody felt left out. You were the planner, the listener, the emergency contact. You were not born distant. You got trained by repetition. You learned that some people only called when they needed a place to empty their stress. You learned that some rooms asked you to become smaller to keep the peace. You learned that some conversations left you sitting in your car afterward, hands still on the wheel. You wondered why a normal dinner felt like work. So you started doing something quiet. You stopped answering immediately. You stopped saying yes before checking your body. You stopped explaining your need for space like it was a crime scene. And one day you did not pick up the phone. And the world did not end. It got quieter. Edward Desai and Richard Ryan, the psychologists behind self-determination theory, described autonomy as a basic need. They said it supports healthy motivation and well-being. The simple version is this: people do not just need connection. They need to feel that their choices belong to them. So when you choose solitude, it is not always withdrawal. Sometimes it is your nervous system asking for ownership again. Not forever. Not from everyone. Just long enough to hear what you actually think. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. How do you know whether your solitude is wisdom or whether you are quietly building a wall? You know the first sign? You think before you ask. A problem shows up, and your first move is not to throw it into a group chat. You do not immediately collect 5 opinions so you can feel less responsible. You sit with it. You make a note. You walk around the block. You let the first reaction pass before you trust it. You tell yourself you are just slow to respond. But actually, you are protecting the part of your mind that can still reason without applause. The cost is that people may call you distant. They may think you do not need help. And sometimes, because you are so used to solving things quietly, you forget that support is allowed. The second sign is the way you process emotions. Something hurts, and instead of turning it into a performance, you go quiet. You wash the dishes. You fold laundry badly. You sit on the edge of the bed and replay the sentence that hit you harder than it should have. You tell yourself you're being dramatic. But actually, you are trying to name the feeling before you hand it to someone else. The cost is that people may miss what is happening inside you, not because they do not care, but because you do not always show the smoke until the fire is almost out. The third sign is that you have private rituals, a certain walk, a certain chair, a certain way you sit in the car for 2 extra minutes before going inside. Nobody taught you this. Nobody claps for it. You just found small pockets of silence and kept returning to them. You tell yourself it is nothing, but actually, you are building a life that does not need constant permission from outside noise. Stop, before we go further. Everything you have heard so far is not a compliment in pretty packaging. These are real adaptations of your psyche. They helped you become steady. They also taught you to disappear efficiently. And that is why the next part matters. The fourth sign is how you make big decisions. You may ask questions. You may listen carefully. You may take in advice. But when the final choice comes, the job, the move, the relationship, the goodbye, you need quiet. Not a crowd. Not a vote. Quiet. You tell yourself you are stubborn, but actually, you have learned the difference between input and instruction. The cost is that sometimes you carry the weight alone, even when the decision affects more than just you. The fifth sign is the most obvious one, but people still get it wrong. You enjoy your own company, not in a fake way, not in a look how independent I am way. You actually relax when nobody is asking you to translate yourself. You eat what you want. You move at your pace. You laugh at something stupid and do not have to explain why it was funny. You tell yourself, maybe this is strange. But actually, it means you have become familiar to yourself. The cost is that bad company starts feeling louder than loneliness. Once you know peace, you cannot unknow it. So what happens when the quiet room starts protecting you too well? But here is where it gets complicated. There is a version of solitude that heals you, and there is a version that quietly trains you to stop reaching. And they can look almost identical from the outside. Both people go home early. Both people stop replying to certain messages. Both people need space after too much noise. The difference is not the behavior. The difference is what happens inside your body when connection gets close. If peace makes you clearer, that is different from fear making you smaller. If you choose quiet because you want to return to yourself, that is different. It is not the same as choosing quiet because every person feels like a threat. This is the line. Isolation is being cut off from connection you still need. Solitude is choosing enough quiet to recognize yourself again. That is the sentence. Not every closed door is damage. Sometimes it is maintenance. But do not use peace as a nicer word for disappearance. This is not only for introverts. It is not only for people who hate parties, avoid phone calls, or feel drained in loud rooms. It is for anyone who has ever confused being available with being lovable. It is for anyone who learned to perform closeness while feeling miles away inside. It is for anyone who needs to hear this clearly. The goal is not to need nobody. The goal is to stop needing everybody to approve the shape of your life. But if the right people matter, how do you stop confusing more people with better people? If you are watching this and wondering if something is wrong with you, hear me. You are not cold. You are not broken. You are not failing at being human. You are someone who finally noticed the difference between being connected and being consumed. And that difference can change your whole life. The Harvard study of adult development has followed people for more than 85 years. Its central message is simple. Good relationships are strongly tied to health, happiness, and a longer life. But notice what that does not mean. It does not mean more names in your phone. It does not mean more plans on your calendar. It does not mean keeping access open to people who leave you feeling like you have to recover after seeing them. The lesson is not, never be alone. The lesson is, choose the people who make your aloneness safer, not harder, because the right connection does not invade the quiet room. It knocks. It waits. It enters without making you abandon yourself. So if your circle got smaller but your chest got lighter, you are not doing this wrong. If your weekends got quieter but your mind got clearer, you are not doing this wrong. If you lost the crowd but found your own voice again, you are not doing this wrong. Keep the quiet. Keep the right ones. And if this gave you the permission you did not know you needed, press the button below whose name I will not even say. You know which one. Then write one word in the comments. What do you feel right now?